Hey everyone, Joe here from Rebel, and today you're listening to a Shagweek podcast brought to you by Rebel and the SU. If you don't know what Shagweek is, if you've seen Shagweek around the place with aubergines and peaches, then you're probably thinking what I'm thinking, the clue's in the name, shag. But Dorothy, what is Shagweek?
So for all of those of you who are thinking, what Joe's thinking, yes, it is about sex, but it's more around sexual health. So SHAG actually stands for Sexual Health Awareness and Guidance. So we'll be holding a SHAG week all this week. And it's basically like an opportunity for us to, destigmatize, some ideas around sex, and for us to also talk about topics that are seen as such as taboo, that are seen as taboos, in modern society. As young people, we go through like a lot of sexual experiences, but sometimes we don't feel comfortable to talk about it, and because of that, we think that we're the only people who are going through, some of those challenges. But that's why we're holding a SHAG week to, show students that you're not the only person who's currently going through those challenges. You're not alone. There's a whole community of us who are out there, and it's also, I guess, to like bring awareness as well to like, so like some of the sexual health, diseases that you can catch nowadays. Like I was doing research around it, and like there were hundreds of diseases that you could catch like as a female alone, and I was getting so scared. I was like, this one vagina that you have, like how can you catch so many things in it? I was so surprised, but like it's like we're not taught about these sort of stuff. Like we're not educated like on a lot of things around this. So it's mainly just about bringing awareness and guiding everyone, and like how they can help cope with a lot of these challenges that they're going through. So yeah, that's basically what SHAG Week is all about: destigmatizing, but also bringing awareness and guiding students to the right support services that they can go to, and showing them that they're not alone. And this isn't just something that's exclusionary to heterosexual couples, but it's also for like but it's also for those of you who are part of the LGBTQ community as well. So yeah, that is SHAG Week in a very long-winded explanation.
And so we all want to introduce ourselves in the room. Dorothy, what is your position, in case not sex position, I mean sub position?
So my name is Dorothy, as you guys already heard, and I am the Vice President of Welfare within the Students' Union.
And how much of that revolves around sex?
My role revolves around sex. Well,
in terms of sexual welfare.
Yeah, like within my role, like this isn't really something that students come up to me to talk about. As I said before, like a lot of people don't feel very open about talking like about their sexual health and their own sexual experiences, because it's seen as such a taboo in society. But like that's why I am holding this SHAG Week, to help break that down and to tell students that you feel comfortable to talk about it. Like it's something that happens to all of us. Like I wasn't educated on a lot of things when I was growing up. I remember when I had my first period, I was in secondary school in year 10. Yes, I know it's very, very late, but hey, my mum hadn't had any conversations with me around periods. And I remember like this one day, like I went inside the toilet, and then like I saw blood, and then I was like, oh my god, I started panicking inside the toilet. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Like I called my mum on the phone. I was like, Mommy, I'm dying, like blood's coming out my vagina, like you're not gonna see me, like I'm gonna die in this toilet. And she started laughing at me, and she was just like, no, Dorothy, this is just your period, like this is normal. But like it's because my parents never spoke to me about stuff like this, and like I didn't know, what to look out for. And I think that this is like stuff that we should be talking about, things like pap smears. Like a lot of girls don't know that they need to have pap smears and stuff. It's like, we need to bring awareness to that, and that's what I want to do within my role. So that's why SHAG Week.
And let's introduce everyone in the room. We've got Samira here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Samira. I'm current SU president, same position as Doggy.
We love to hear it.
Sorry, off in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got to really. I think if every sab position was related to a sex position, what would they be?
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Give me a good one. I swear to God, you make a good one.
I think welfare would be missionary, just because. Not because it's boring, but it's because it's intimate and it's caring. And I think welfare is a caring, intimate position.
I would have thought welfare is more cowgirl, but you know.
Oh, no. See, I think cowgirl would be a bit more of the student experience. You know, like. Not saying you're not like
it's
extravagant.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just adventurous, and like she is adventurous. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Community engagement, maybe reverse cowgirl. You know, getting into a bit different things, tapping in. You know, you could do a lot with that. VP education. What's like a boring one? Spooning. Not saying that. Not saying because the person's boring. I'm just mean like. The actual position itself to a lot of people could seem quite boring, but spooning again it can be quite intimate, and you know, and education is with all the policies, and then international. I'm trying to think, what's an international?
Long distance relationship.
Sexting, yeah, international
exactly,
sexting,
yeah.
And then because I'm president, I would say good. Doggy, because presidents get a lot of shit from behind, sometimes, and
And let's continue in introducing everyone else in the room. And you are?
I'm Chloe.
Nice to meet you, Chloe. And you are?
Connie.
Cool. And you are?
I'm Harry.
Nice to have all of you in the room. It's lovely. We've broken into the conversation now.
One question I think it's quite interesting to get people's opinions on is about sex in relationship. Do you think it is important in a relationship? Like it's, the biggest flag for you that, sex isn't there, it's goodbye.
I don't think it's the be all end all. If your whole relationship just revolves around sex, then it's more like a lust thing, isn't it? It's not something serious.
Yeah. No, yeah, I hear that. I personally feel like sex, like obviously it does make up a part of the relationship, but it's not everything within a relationship, because you need to also think about religious people who don't have sex before marriage. A lot of them build up relationships that for years, before they even have sex. I feel like a lot of the time, people forget about, the connection outside of the bedroom. Of course, having connection within the bedroom is important as well, but outside of the bedroom is it makes up, I'd say, a good 80%, if not.
But if you had bad sex, right, would you leave?
Well, it's
simple.
Well, I've never had a relationship, but if the sex is bad, then that's it depends how much you really like them, because if it's you're just getting into it and you shag them and it's just a bit shit, then it's I have a reason to leave. But if you've built up a relationship over a long period of time and then you finally sleep with each other and it's a long time coming, you can sort of work with it, and I guess you can make it better. But if it's bad sex straight away and there's not much else there, then I would dip.
Yeah, that makes sense, because it's all about communication, really. And if you do communicate on that, I think it would lead to an outcome, whether staying apart or leaving. And I think, as everyone said, it's not the sole factor, but it is an important factor depending on who the people are. And I think that's why the communication's important, so you can understand what the relationship means to you, how you're finding sex, because the sex could be bad for one person, but the other person might not be on the same page, and you just have to communicate that. But if you're not willing to communicate with that, it's fine to walk away and make those decisions where you're not comfortable.
I think so. I was gonna say the biggest thing I think I found is being honest about it, and it comes back to libidos, because some people have such a high sex drive compared to someone else, and that's not a bad thing. Just when you can't be in a relationship together, but it's understanding that I might not want to have sex all the time, but then also your partner might want to, and you do sometimes have to cater to your partner's needs, but it comes to that part of the consent, you do have to be honest and communicate about it, and it can change. I remember person I was dating had a very high sex drive, and I thought I did. In comparison to him, I didn't. Doesn't mean I'm bad or there's something wrong with me. I think when I was on the tube and on the poster it said, if you have a low sex drive, we want to do the research on you, and it just made me think, am I a weirdo? And just because you have a low sex drive doesn't mean you're a weirdo, because it's dependent on the individual. So yeah, I think it is about communication, being honest, and it's the constant communication, not just at the beginning or when you get into either a relationship or friends with benefits, but it's constant throughout.
But in reality, there's a lot of time where you just have to live with someone, get on, support them, and they support you.
Because as well, there's asexual relationships. Like those function perfectly fine without sex, and asexual people are still perfectly happy in their relationships.
It's very true.
In the film What's Your Number? Yeah. In the film What's Your Number? Ali, the lead girl, says that the perfect guy expects the perfect girl to have a body count like lower than 10 or something. And she's read an article and it's like her body count, if she sleeps with one more person, is going to be 20. And he says to her, the perfect guy shouldn't care what your body count is. And she's like, you're just saying that because yours is obviously over 300 or something. And she thinks he's just being a bit of a dick and trying to make a dig at her. When in reality, what he's saying is like, the perfect guy is the perfect guy and he's going to think you're perfect regardless because you're perfect, which makes him perfect for you. And then he obviously, being Chris Evans, doesn't care and spoiler alert, they get together. But,
but I genuinely just don't understand. Like, what is it? I don't know. Like, I'm not a guy, so I don't know. Like,
what is it?
I mean, I don't.
What
I don't
society
think.
brought you up?
Like, what is it?
What
is
is the beef with
I-
guys?
yeah.
Why
why is
ask
it
if
that-
you don't like the answer?
Honestly,
Yeah, if
true.
you don't know, don't ask.
I don't
ask men.
I think that the double standards aren't right, and when it's hypocritical, it's wrong. I mean, there shouldn't be gender double standards.
Yeah.
Regardless of any gender, there shouldn't be double standards there because it doesn't make sense. If you're doing something, you can't judge your partner for doing it, and if you want to do something, you can't judge your partner for doing it because they wanted to too, and they just got there before you did. You know, you got to be more accepting. I think it's in some cases, you know, if one partner, say for religious reasons, wants to find someone that hasn't had sex, I think, you know, there's situations, but when it's a double standard, that's where it's wrong. And no, I can't answer that because I don't think that, you know, I can't think with double standards. I don't think it's fair, really.
Yeah, I agree. I don't understand straight men. I'm gay.
Yeah, I don't understand, and I don't understand them either. And them.
It's like how society has just like either normalized things or has kind of like condemned it. And, you know, I think sex toys, so, you know, I kind of want to go into it, but, you know, no one really talks about sex toys, but people do use them, and then if you do use them, you're embarrassed to use them. Why? I read an article, and I think it was in the Cosmopolitan, and it was like, for you to have better sex, you should know your body, and who's better to know your body than yourself, and how are you going to do that, do you know? And there's so many tools out there for you to, you know, take advice from Dorothy, you know. But no, but like being honest, like you should. It's not a bad thing to explore yourself. You know, what you like and what you don't like, because then when you do enter a relationship or you do enter some sort of situationship where you are having sex, you kind of can guide that person too. You know, you shouldn't expect the other person to know what you like if you're not going to communicate. And sometimes that to communicate, you need to know what you like. So, you know,
experience isn't a bad thing.
No,
it's not a bad thing. It just means that you know what you want, you know what you like.
Do you know what? Tour was
crazy.
Yeah, you know, they've forbidden. So tour. So we sent 160, I think over 100 something students to tour to Croatia last week. And, you know, it's a massive thing. Sports society's going whatever. And I was walking past not our uni, another uni, and said, "Oh, she's a virgin. I'm not going to shag her." And it was just like, I'm not understanding. Is it because you're being considerate and you don't want to be on tour because you know it's going to be a one and dip? I couldn't get the intention. But one thing I did see on tour was the amount of students that did come up for condoms, and how I loved how open students were about it. And I think, you know, if you go back 10 years, I think when Dorothy's saying growing up, it was so stigmatised and you don't talk about it. It was very much you split yourself in a room to boys and girls, you know, and I think you need to have that conversation together, again, about communicating, understanding each other and different types. But on tour, how students were open about it, were unshameful, which was brilliant, you know.
Like even even within like our students group chat, like so there may have been like a little okay. So I'll tell you the story behind it. So basically there was this one funnel that was being passed around to everyone, and not knowing that the funnel had been in certain places. And obviously, like quite a lot of people had been drinking from this funnel.
We're laughing, but this might not be funny because of sexual health reasons.
100%. So we later found out in the group chat that, you know, an STI could have possibly been passed around. But do you know what it is? Like, yeah, like it was bad circumstances, but like how I think it's like going back to what Samir said, like how open and accepting students were about it. I think that's something that I was like, wow, like you wouldn't there's no way you would have seen this like 10 years ago, like students openly talking about STIs and STDs within a group chat and being like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go get tested, or I've already tested and stuff like that. Like this just shows how like information actually is going in, because think of it this way, like do you think 5 years ago like students would have, like people would have even know where to go to get an STI kit or STD testing and stuff like that? But now like there's been so many provisions that have been put in place to ensure that people are being kept safe whilst they're having sex. And I love that we're having open conversations about this, especially within group chats where funnels are being involved and stuff like that. And, and like people are openly saying as well, they're like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm like,
do you know it's thank you, because now people are asking people to do it, and it's that bystander of looking after each other. Like it's not like I don't care, I don't want to know what you did, but if you did drink from that funnel, please go get tested for your own health. And it's not about you've had sex or you've done bits or you're dirty. It's more about you might have a disease, and actually understanding the seriousness about it. Sex does come with consequences. It can come with a beautiful consequence. Having a child can come with consequences of and it can actually deteriorate your health if you don't treat it. And I think that's why Shag Week is important, because it's about sexual health, it's about the guidance, and we're now seeing students guiding each other in community to get tested for their own benefit. I just think it's just mad how people could keep it to themselves. Like I know one girl in school in secondary, she didn't know she had chlamydia until like a year down the line, and she was severely ill. And the only reason we found out was because I prank called her boyfriend, well, her ex-boyfriend at the time, and told him that he should go to the clinic and get tested. And actually he did, until he actually was positive, for something. So it's just about, how far we've come, but where can we go more? And I think, credit to you, Dorothy, about doing Shag Week, because we should get tested regularly.
And so let's share some guidance. How do people get tested? Where do they go? Where can they find testing kits?
So one way you can find a testing kit is you can either reach out online to SH24, Sexual Health 24. It's an organisation that you can go to, and they do give you free STI and STD testing kits, which they do send to your house, very confidential service. Another way you can also get a kit as well, is through Brooks as well. You can reach out to them online too, and they also have testing kits there too. There are also a couple sexual health services within town as well that you can go to, that they'll do the test for you, and they'll give you the results right there and then as well. And even aside from like the whole testing side of things, like even if you think that you may have symptoms, and you want someone to talk to about it, but like you don't want to like take it up there to like a professional or something. Like there's also a SU advice you can go to as well. We also have the health clinic that's on campus too. That's literally right over there, that you can also reach out to. They're always there and available for a chat. If you have, I don't know, like sometimes I have so many questions. Like I see like the smallest thing wrong with me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what do I have? Like is this like, it's like, what issue is this? And like sometimes you don't necessarily want to take it to like an actual professional, because it's like it becomes very scary. Sometimes you just want someone to talk to, ask questions about some of the challenges that you might be going through. So there's some different options that you also have you can go to.
Do you have any?
Any what?
Like any guidance? Someone told. Oh yeah, no, actually realised. No, sorry. No, like my friend told me that once she had a new sexual partner, she would get tested for herself and also for the person she possibly was sleeping next. And I thought that was actually quite nice. It's quite sweet. Think of someone else, but some people don't do it at all. So, do you have any like tips or like?
Wow. Yeah, I've had, my friends have said the same, like in between each person they've slept with, they've got tested, which I think is just common sense. Like, it just makes sense. And my friends are not shy about it. My friends post it on their Snapchat story, like, yeah, clear. I'm like,
Yeah.
go on now.
Yeah.
Yes, we're clear. But yeah, no, that's just, I think that's the only thing I say to my friends. Like, my friends, except with like 7 boys over like 7 months, like it was like 1 a month, and she didn't get tested the entire time. And then she started to feel really ill, and we were like, go get yourself tested. She was clear, it was just like a bug, but that was quite concerning. So we were like, go get tested.
Yeah.
And now every time she sleeps with someone new, she gets tested.
Good.
Yeah. Use a condom. But if you're sleeping with someone new, use a condom until you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just them, because obviously they could go cheat and you can catch something anything. But if they're new, use protection.
And even if you're in like birth control
Yeah.
and you're sleeping with someone that you're not in a relationship with, and you know,
cover it up.
please
Yeah.
cover it up. Yeah. You might not get pregnant, but even then, birth control isn't, you know.
Mhm.
Don't be
Right.
silly.
I'm
wrap
just
your willy.
saying.
Yeah, don't be
I'm just
silly.
saying, and pre-cum is a thing, guys. You can
Yes.
still get pregnant from pre-cum. If you did not know, lads, if you did not know, you
Pull
can
out
get a
method.
girl. Listen, it does not work. Pull out a method
No.
and think it works.
No.
It does not work. Just wrap it up. Just wrap it up. Like, and there's like, and do you know what it is? Like, there's so many different forms of like contraceptives that you can use now. Like, there's femdoms, there's dental dams, there's condoms. Like, do you get what I mean? And like, they're coming up, and like, they're still coming up with new things. I actually recently saw that, you know, there's new contraceptive pills for men to take instead of women having to take birth
Please
control,
take
which
them.
I was like,
Men
praise the
won't,
Lord,
mate.
hallelujah. Like, why should, and do you know what? Yeah, they actually first ran this test for men having contraceptives quite some time ago, but it kind of fell into the water because men complained saying that it was affecting their hormones.
Welcome.
They said that it was affecting their hormones. That's why the trial never actually went through in the end. But now, like, obviously, like, technology has increased and whatnot, so like they found like new provisions to like make sure that it doesn't affect men's hormones. But like, I was just thinking that like, it affects your hormones. What about us girls? The things that we have to go through, like on our periods alone, like,
Yeah. They can be as painful as a heart attack.
do you get what I mean? Like,
Oh, I wish I don't know. I have a heart attack. I swear down.
Yeah, I guess it's also like for like people that, you know, I'm saying cisgender men, like research on what contraceptive is for the females that are taking it, or you might have forced them into taking it, for example, because you don't want to wrap up because you're being selfish. You know, like the process of putting the coil in, or the IUD, or however you want to call it, research that, you know, how that goes in, my mate, you know, and the effects after, but also be considerate if you are with someone who has just gone on to contraception, their mood swings, and you know how they're doing mentally. And actually sometimes being on the pill or being on IUD or on a patch, on an injection, actually isn't good for you, and actually that's not a bad thing to get it removed. But yeah, I think talking to your friends about it, like I chose my method through talking to my friends about, you know, their experiences. You know, it sounds weird, but me and my friend had really quite similar skin in terms of like how she reacted to something, and I'd react in the same way, and actually, you know, having that conversation and opening it up. But yeah, be considerate and don't be selfish. Yeah, so wrap that willy.
Even if it doesn't feel the same, I'm pretty sure Durex have condoms that feel good. Or like skin feel.
Or lube it up, innit?
Yeah.
Well, I know someone that got pregnant on the pill anyway.
Yeah.
So we're really not safe anymore.
Stop making excuses, guys.
Yeah.
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 Pretty much.
Crazy.
No bag, no shag, no glove, no love.
Oh.
Deep. That was.
I'm learning rhymes I didn't know.
no, what is it?
No bag, no shag, no glove, no love.
No bag, no shag, no bag,
No glove, no love.
Yeah.
no bag, no shag, no
Glove,
glove,
no
no
love.
love. Damn.
That should be your new.
Yeah.
thing.
Damn. Where were you a week ago when I was making this file?
Shakespeare, right?
Shakespeare. But yeah, and you can get a lot of condoms free from places too.
You get that
Yeah.
card.
Yeah, I've got that card. The
Yeah.
C card.
Yeah, you get that.
You get it
in-
free condoms until you're 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to use services like that, because they're there for a reason. And anyone else using those services, using them for the exact same or very similar things. So you're not, you know, I think they're used to people using condoms for sex in there. So don't be ashamed to walk in and make use of services
Even
that are available.
Putting them on your sex toys, for example. I know some females and some men put condoms on the sex
And on
toys.
your funnels, if you're going to drink out of a funnel, you know.
Wrap up your funnel next time.
Yeah. But you can get condoms from SU Reception, can't you?
Yeah, you can get from SU Reception and from SU Advice as well.
Well, stocks last.
Yeah. Derby. Yeah, Derby Day next week.
They also offer lube as well.
You can make your own lube. Found out.
Yeah.
Isn't it Vaseline?
Yeah, but please
Coconut oil.
don't take our word for it.
No, no, no.
You do not want people now coming back to us
You
saying,
use safe products,
the SU
guys.
gave us
Condoms.
this, that,
Okay.
that.
No,
Don't
don't
use Vaseline, it can damage condoms.
Dorothy probably came for this, but like, you know, you do your research into it because you
Yes.
can do it cheap because there's ones about you being like allergic to latex or not, you know, and stuff like that. So do your research. But,
Shit.
you know, even if you're broke, you can still make it in different ways. So there's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's actually no excuse. Like
No.
in the olden days, like they used
Plastic
to find
bags.
the ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, fam. They used to find the ways. Plastic bags.
I had plastic bags in it. Maybe I've read a bit too much.
And I think it's about taking an active interest to care and be respectful of yourself and others. And I remember at secondary school, like, I don't know, probably had over 10 teen pregnancies in my year and in my classes. It was insane. But, you know, these were people that I was friends with, and I was talking to them about contraception, and I'm like, you can get this stuff for free, and they still make excuses that they can't afford it. You know, you'd be surprised at the excuses that you can come up with, other people can come, but you're really tricking your brain into coming up with excuses because you don't want to take the step to be respectful to yourself and others. And I think if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna have sex, if you're gonna put yourself out there to do the thing, then do the other stuff that goes with it to make sure you're safe and others are safe.
Also, the whole point of this is like to kind of destigmatize and talk about these taboo subjects. But if you're still concerned and you're worried about people finding out that you had sex, for example, you're wanting to incognito mode on your phone. If you're an Apple user, private. Do you get what I mean? Like there are ways you can still find that information. It is out there for you to read. So do, like I said, inform yourself. But I'm excited for Shagweek. Is there any events next week, Dorothy, that you're kind of like wanting to promote or you're excited about?
Someone's taken my job.
Sorry.
Samir just wants me to mention the sex physician's yoga.
I'm looking for a partner.
So yeah, we'll be doing like different activities from I've got some penis and vagina cookies that students can decorate.
Like on sex ed.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
goodness.
And they're inclusive.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, different colours,
Different shapes.
Vagina and penis cookies that we have that students can decorate.
Where can we get them?
You can so you can get it on Square 3 on Monday, so we'll be there from like 12 p.m. onwards. So yeah, you can come over, decorate your biscuit to you know what yeah. Do you know what it is, yeah? Nobody's vagina and penis looks the same.
No,
Everybody
no.
has a different
Yes.
Yes.
We watched that at the house.
Yeah, say I used to do it.
We actually have chats about it because one of our friends said that she was not sure whether she thought a big penis was a big penis or a small penis was a small penis.
Yeah.
And then we ended up stopping and having a chat just to see what we all thought.
Yeah.
I never knew about vaginas that much, but you know,
No,
that my business
so
stuff are like
much,
tucked.
actually.
I was like,
Look at the little
Oh,
cartoon
so
bits they
much.
do.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, Cupid's bow because of the shape of Cupid's arrow.
Yeah.
That's why it's called that.
But yeah, nobody's vagina looks perfect.
No.
And nobody's dick looks perfect.
Definitely.
Everybody's vagina. Oh, Samira's like,
So-
nah, not mine, man. I give a
Yeah.
big dick anything. no, but yeah, like everybody has like different shaped vaginas. Like some people have flabs, you know. Some people like everyone's vagina is different, and I feel like porn has really given a negative image as to what like the ideal vagina should look like. And it's not fair. It's honestly so unrealistic. Like, because I feel like because of porn, like people beat themselves up about so many things. Like even even sexual dysfunction. Like
Yeah.
guys who can't get it up. Like things such as porn has set unrealistic standards for a lot of young people. You know, as to what their sex should be like. You know, like your sex should be rough. It should be fast. It should be, you know, this way. It should be like, I don't know, like stuck. I don't know, like
or
the
girls
different-
can squirt whenever, like
Yeah,
on
like-
demand, like.
It's not like that. Or like girls' vaginas should like look like this. It should be small and tight and stuff like that. But like that's not the case. And like porn has set so many like unrealistic standards that people just can't live to. Like average people just can't live to, you know.
No,
and I feel like we need to get real about it. Like, my vagina is not perfect. Like, my vagina is not supposed to be pretty. Like, if your vagina is pretty, then good on you. But like, a lot of people's vaginas, like they're not what porn has set it out to be. Do you get what I mean? And because of that, like, I feel like people shouldn't be judged because of that. If a guy can't get a hard on, he shouldn't be judged and laughed about, you know? Like, sexual dysfunction is a real thing that nobody ever talks about, you know? And I mean, well, that's why they have Viagra and stuff. Like, there are stuff that are there to help people, but like, we don't talk about this sort of stuff enough. I forgot what the point what I was making originally was. What was the question?
Cookies.
Cookies! How did I go from cookies to sexual dysfunction? But no, yeah, like, yeah, as I was saying, yeah, we have cookies. We used to decorate, and like, you can decorate it how you think, you know, is beautiful for you. Everybody has a different vagina. Paint what you think is beautiful. Beautiful is like a different construct, like, to everyone. So you do what you think, you know, your vagina looks like, or what you think is pretty. We also have sex positions yoga. Woo! We have a couple talks from, you know, different people coming from like outside organizations. We have a whole market on Thursday dedicated to Shagweek. So like, we have like different activities going on around on Thursday market next week. Different activities will be going on. I don't want to spill everything because, you know, I want you guys to actually come and see it for yourselves. But yeah, we have that going on. And on Sunday, we have a quiz in SU Bar that is specifically dedicated towards Shagweek. And the winners get a very interesting prize. I'm just going to leave it there.
Can I ask a question? This might be taking Joe's role again. I obviously seen 10's showing a viewing of a film. If you could choose one film that you would watch that had sex in it that you've enjoyed, what would it be?
300.
I was going to say that.
Bit of
Maximo.
Oh
God.
Yes, please.
I'm waiting for the second one.
It's coming out next week.
Next week.
Next week.
You've got to show the first one then.
Oh, listen. Okay. Well, with that being said, as Samir did say, we will be showing a free movie for all students, so you can come along as well. It's a free screening, so you can come along and watch the movie.
I'll get the popcorn.
I would love to watch 300.
I have two. Love. From an art point of view, you might do because obviously you're a film student. The aspect of like how no words was mentioned, but it was all there. Like you could hear basically what they're saying. I just thought it was like, it did open up with this. It was a scene of 69, it was basically like porn. But I think
it basically is
porn. Yeah,
but like there's so much more to it.
Yeah, so much story to it, and it goes for a lot. And then Call Me by Your Name. I just think the story behind it all, and I think it opened so much more conversation. Did you
As
not?
a queer person, I hate that movie.
Oh really?
I absolutely
Well,
hate
it opened my like.
It's basically an elder man grooming a teenage boy.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
true.
true.
Yeah, it's a horrible representation.
It did
of what
open
queer
my
relationships are.
eyes to the conversations
Yeah.
in the community, and like I went on like Twitter and I was just reading loads and stuff like that. So I don't know. I quite like movies that do spark your thing. So
Do you mind me asking what queer relationships are actually like? Because I don't know. It's not something I've actually thought about until you just mentioned it now.
There was a discussion in LGBT SOC a couple months back actually about queer relationships, and one of the things that we said is that it's much more earnest than straight relationships, rather than being in a relationship because you're expected to. More often with queer people, you're in a relationship because you actually like the person. You'll spend a lot more time on the kind of traditional romance aspects.
Yeah.
Because you often don't get that experience as a teen. I mean, I didn't. I had literally nothing. I mean, sex ed for queer people, nothing during school. I left school like what, 2, 3 years ago? I don't know. But nothing, absolutely nothing about queer sex ed. So all the stuff that straight people get to experience during their teens, like going out to prom, going to the movies for the first time with your date, and sitting and holding hands, you don't really get that because the public is scary, basically. And so that's why think sex is also less important
Mm.
because there are different forms of intimacy that just show what you mean more.
Yeah.
So
There's something that you said in there that I really did, that I picked up on, was, how you were saying about how, like, as a queer person, like, you're not really taught anything about it, in education.
No.
I definitely feel like in this day and age, like, we need to be taught about, all of these things. It's like, okay, I understand if you're saying like in primary school, because like kids may be young and stuff like that, but like I feel like in secondary school, where they do teach you sex education, they need to stop sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, they need to stop sugarcoating it, and they need to actually tell you like what, like, the truth and reality of what like sex is actually like doing the whole, condom on the banana demonstration and stuff. Like, it's not enough for students. Like, they need a greater insight into like what sex is actually like, not just for straight couples, but also for, queer couples as well, for couples who are part of the LGBTQ community, transgender community, like kids, like not even kids, like people grow up not knowing who they are or like what they like or what they think they like. And I feel like school is the place where, they start teaching you the things that you do like you have great insight into the things that you do like. And I definitely feel like secondary schools, sixth forms, university should definitely take advantage of these opportunities and start teaching people important things like around subjects such as this, not just around sex, but also around consent, also around bystander, like drill it into their ears at a young age, so then when they're older, it's like they can't, like, there's no room for mistake in a way. Like, for example, last year we had a whole generation of students who are coming from basically from GCSEs into university. Most of them have never had a sexual experience before in their lives. A lot of them don't know what consent is. A lot of them don't know what bystander means. Like, train them from young. Like, start drilling this sort of information into their heads. Like, teachers need to start taking responsibilities for these sort of things. That's just me personally.
And actually, there are things that can be attached to it that can be triggering. So when you do have these conversations, having a safe space. So like, I go back to what Dorothy said, talk to SU advice. Yes, they can talk to you about it, but if you are triggered by anything in this conversation as a podcast, do go seek like advice, or like if you want to talk to someone and it's okay.
Going back to the whole thing about porn sets very unrealistic standards.
Yeah.
Very, very, very unrealistic.
But it's such a shame though, because
back to what you were saying,
porn is what people learn about sex, unfortunately, and it's not a shame to the individual, it's a shame on our system. We get political here, but the government, our system hasn't done it. But again, it's porn isn't taken into moderation. I've watched a lot of documentaries actually where it shows a lot of like self-confidence and love, but you've got to also think about the intention behind it, like the contracts behind it. It's safer than it was back in the day. However, what you're watching could be trafficking, could be unconsensual sex. Think about what you're actually doing. But also, there was one documentary, and I think it was Stacey Solomon did it, and it was about the porn industry, and that there's a new part of the porn industry which is quite realistic now, and it's love, and it's more of a story rather than banging, squirt, give me anal type of thing. It's more realistic. So.
Yeah, and there's also platforms that provide now sort of sex education, but with actual demonstrations. Like you watch videos, and there might be paid services, but I've seen friends of mine advertise them and do like influencing for those platforms. And I looked at them and I thought, wow, we go through sex education without, we've got sometimes we've got no clue. And you watch, porn, it's unrealistic standards, but there is now sex education that is visual and provides that information, so it doesn't have to come from a place that is which is an industry, which all that industry is there to do is to make money. It's not to educate people. And when it doesn't have the purpose of educating people, it probably shouldn't.
In porn, the girls are always orgasming. Like, they're always having an orgasm.
Well, they might not be. They're just making noises.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I
what I
mean?
was just about to say. Yeah, like a lot of the times, like, they're just making noises. They're not actually having an orgasm. Don't put it on the girl that you're with just because she can't orgasm. Like everyone's body is different. Like some people just don't orgasm, and that's
Yeah, it
fine.
doesn't have to reflect badly on the person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
You play any game of Never Have I Ever and ask if you've ever faked it, every girl in that room who's had
Mhm.
sex
Yeah.
will put their hand up or drink.
But don't you think you do it also for that of confidence of the boy though? Like you probably do it because you want them to feel like they're doing a good job and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, but then I feel like that's where communication
yeah,
comes in.
I think one thing we learned from this podcast is about communication, innit? Like you've got to communicate. And I think hopefully if you didn't know about it, you might clarify some things
Yeah, you know about
with
it
your
now.
sexual encounters.
And I think that's why Shagweek's so important.
Yeah.
So Shagweek, when this podcast goes out, will be Shagweek. And is there events on every day?
Yeah, there's events that are being held every single day, and like we have quite. I think the one thing that I really like that we've done this year is that like we've written articles that talk about different challenges that people may be going through, and like within these articles like we're destigmatizing like a lot of beliefs that a lot of people have in modern society. So yeah, like we're talking about different things, this including one of them. So yeah, like we have a lot of interesting conversations that have been had within those articles. So I definitely implore you to have a look at that on the SU website. And we have events throughout the whole week. If you have any questions or like, if you just want to educate yourself, in regards to some of the diseases that may be out there, definitely take this opportunity to, it doesn't hurt knowing more. Do you get what I mean? Like it's better for you to know than for you to
don't just be
not
put off
know
because you
and
don't
then-
want to be scared.
Yeah.
Things are preventable for a reason.
Yeah. And then you just sat there in your bed now stressing all night. Oh my gosh, what could I possibly
You could just
have?
order a test.
You could also do that as well. But it's better for you to know. So yeah, I definitely implore you to check out, the Essex SU website during the week. We'll be updating it with new articles every single day. And one cool thing that we're also doing is that every day we're going to have a board on Square 3. And there'll be different questions on the board. There'll be different questions on the board. And we want to find out you guys' opinions in regards to those questions. So like one of the questions may be, I don't know, like what is sex, what is sex to you, or like what do you think consent is? We'll have like different questions every single day where you'll get to write down your own opinion. And like we just want to see what everybody says in regards to those things. And I think that it's also nice, like, and encouraging as well, like seeing other people's opinions of different things. It also encourages you to write down your own as well. So yeah, something else that we're also doing.
I can't wait for Shagweek to come around. It's been so good to have you all on the show today for our special Shagweek podcast. Any closing thoughts anyone has?
it's been fun.
Fun.
Thank you for joining us, because let's just say you guys were out in the corridor and we thought, you know what, do you want to be on a Shagweek podcast? Samira asked, I wouldn't ask, but Samira asked. And it's just great to have you here and to talk about sex, baby.
Love talking about sex.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, for sure.
What was that phrase that you said again?
What's it?
Get bag.
No bag, no shag, no glove, no love.
And that's on period.
That's on period. Thank you for coming to our Shagweek podcast, and see you at Shagweek.
Bye.
Bye.
Wrap it up.
Wrap up the show, wrap up the willy.